Tonight on the Northwestern News Report, watch where you walk, an update on the rise of Evanston rat sightings and how the city is responding to the issue.
Serving up a slice of community, we take a look at Evanston's inaugural Pies for Parks fundraiser that raised sweet support for local parks.
And streamlining safety communication, how a new Evanston PD app will make crime alerts and reporting more efficient.
Those stories and more on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your news
right now.
We begin tonight with a local tie to the war between Israel and Hamas. An Evanston mother and daughter are presumably among the 15 Americans being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza. Judith Ra'anan and her 17-year-old daughter Natalie were in Israel to celebrate Judith's mother's 85th birthday, along with the Jewish holidays. They went missing last Saturday. A vigil was held in Evanston for the pair last week.
And the organization Students for Justice in Palestine held their own vigil last Thursday, with students gathering to stand in solidarity with the Palestinian lives lost. The vigil was held at Deering Library, which appeared to be lit up in red, white, and green. SJP says that the vigil was aimed at promoting justice, equality, and understanding.
Elsewhere in Evanston, the city's Land Use Commission unanimously approved Northwestern's plan to rebuild Ryan Field last Wednesday, but in a major blow to the university, rejected a zoning proposal that would allow NU to hold public concerts at the new stadium. The commission voted 7-2 against rezoning, with members echoing the concerns of residents who spoke out at previous Land Use Commission meetings. Prior to the vote, Northwestern affirmed its belief that holding concerts at Ryan Field is necessary to pay for maintenance, but the chairman of that committee, Matt Rogers, called that assessment, quote, laughable.
And I know these families that live around there, and they all have little kids, and those little kids go to bed at 7:30. What recourse do they have?
You saw that I put a sound decibel in there of 70 in the residential areas.
Still gonna hear it.
You're going to hear it. You live in a city, George.
Right.
It's important to note that the Land Use Commission vote is only a recommendation. Northwestern now awaits the City Council's decision on both the rezoning and the project proposals.
Taxpayer dollars being used elsewhere, the Evanston Police Department launched a new app earlier this month designed to open new lines of communication with Evanstonians. NNN's Lance Wilhelm has more on how you can use it and what it means for the Evanston community.
The Evanston PD is always looking for ways to make the community safer. But this time, that doesn't mean new cars or equipment, but an app designed to streamline communication and transparency. One of the officers who worked on launching the app says it will make fast-paced communication with Evanstonians easier.
We've always used Twitter and Facebook for many years, and we do get information that way. But this is a more in the moment, this is what's going on.
On the app, Evanston PD will be able to immediately notify users of anything from traffic incidents to major threats to public safety. But it's not just for residents to get information from the police. It also helps the police get information from residents.
This was our first foray really at being able to have an application that allows people access to the police department at their ease.
If you see something suspicious on campus or in Evanston, submitting a tip is now as easy as opening the app on your phone, clicking a couple buttons to fill in the time and your location, and then providing a quick description of what you saw.
It's to be accessible, to be available.
The app's home screen has a menu noting how you can submit a tip or access crime data, or even commend an officer, all of which you can do anonymously.
We want to be as transparent as we possibly can. We don't want to have to make people ask for information that they can readily access. So we're making an effort to just put it out there.
And the app already seeing use, with over 3,000 downloads since its launch just 2 weeks ago. Lance Wilhelm, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Lance. EPD wants citizens to be aware that the app is not to be used in emergency situations. Calling 911 is still the quickest way to get a hold of authorities. After the break, struggling to go vegetarian? There's new research that shows that it might be genetic.
And the rats really do run this city. Why there's a rise in rat sightings in Evanston. Stay tuned.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back. The City of Evanston presented the proposed 2024 budget at last night's City Council meeting. This budget includes a $51 million increase from last year. The city is attributing the increase to raise wages, city investments in climate action, and a capital improvement program, or CIP. The CIP will distribute $108 million across areas including infrastructure, repair projects, and improvements. The budget proposal will be discussed at a public meeting on the 23rd of October. The final vote for the budget is projected to take place November 27th. To read the full budget proposal, go to thecityofevanston.org/government/budget.
Moving on to other city budget news, 7 programs are receiving money from the City of Evanston after residents voted in the Participatory Budgeting Initiative. Participatory budgeting allows citizens to vote on what policies they believe the city should be spending its money on. In Evanston's case, the 7 most popular policies will be funded by $3 million worth of city funds. The winning programs include mental health training, education grants, more fresh, locally grown foods, and affordable housing. More than 6,500 Evanstonians voted. That's about 8.5% of the population, significantly higher than the turnout of other cities that initiated participatory budgeting saw. And after funding these initiatives, the city expects to have a remaining $85,000 worth of participatory budgeting funds. Whether these funds will be further allocated amongst the winning projects or banked as a reserve will be decided at tomorrow's Participatory Budgeting Steering Committee meeting.
Now for an issue scurrying across the city. NNN's Jack Ferveris is here with how Evanston is dealing with a problem that is rattling residents.
By day, the intersection of Clark and Sherman is filled with NU students and Evanstonians. But by night, the area is even busier. Just not for humans.
I've seen an ungodly amount of rats in Evanston. My night is not complete until I see at least like 2 to 3 rats, I think.
This intersection has the most rat sightings in Evanston. Evanston expects roughly 1,200 rat sightings this year, the most since 2015.
Rats, they're very smart. You know, they've been here for a very, very long time. They've had so much time to adapt to us and acclimate themselves to us, so they fit with us pretty well.
Olson attributes the higher sightings to COVID-19 restaurant closures, which forced rats to become bolder in their search for food. Rats can burrow in concrete, AC units, even the planters scattered across Evanston. To counter the issue, the city has used bait boxes, but new efforts mean new technology.
And then we also use our CO2 canisters, which is just a forced CO2 into burrows, which is a more humane way to do it than using rodenticides, and there's little to no risk of any sort of secondary poisonings.
The city is also installing stainless steel mesh in some planters, allowing for plant growth while preventing burrowing. Although rat populations naturally dwindle in the winter, when spring comes, Evanston hopes to be ready. Jack Ferveris, NNN.
Thanks, Jack. If you happen to spot any rats, Evanston encourages residents to dial 311 to report the sighting.
Now we turn to our weekly science segment. NNN's Jerry Reed Fredericks is here with more on what's under the microscope. Jeremy?
Good evening. I'm here in Kresge Hall with the latest science news. Let's look under the microscope. Trying to go vegetarian but can't? It might be genetic. New research from Northwestern medicine shows that at least 3 genes involved with metabolism and brain function can cause some people to need the lipid components of meat. That may make it harder for those folks to go vegetarian. Research also finds that some people may be eating meat because their body likes to metabolize it. They likes that lipid component. One research compared it to how people enjoy drinking coffee or alcohol, not because of the taste, but because of how it makes them feel. And most AI systems need a large amount of software to back them up, but a new tiny nano-electronic device aimed to reduce that need. It was tested on an ECG system that tracks different heart patterns, including an irregular heartbeat, accurate about 95% of the time. Since this device doesn't need to be connected to the cloud, there's also lower security risk since it's harder to hack. The hope is that this AI can be used in smaller devices to keep them sustainable. That's it for Under the Microscope. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Turning now to last weekend's reproductive rights rally, NNN's Caitlin Bender-Thomas has more on what community members decided to take to the streets.
What do we do? Stand up like that. What do we do?
A year since the fall of Roe v. Wade left abortion access up to the states, community organizers and activists marched through downtown Evanston on Sunday for the second annual pro-choice rally.
It's really empowering. It gives so much hope, for the future.
Luke Ma is the School of Communication fourth year at Northwestern and says the Supreme Court's decision was overwhelming.
It made me incredibly angry and incredibly afraid for my friends and for myself and for where we are as a country.
In 24 states in the District of Columbia, abortions are legal. 4 states have temporarily blocked their bans, and 14 states have banned the procedure in almost all circumstances. Representative Jan Schakowsky says it's important for everyone to vote in the upcoming elections.
We certainly can't let what the Republicans want to do to have a national ban.
Although abortions remain legal in Illinois, advocates here say the fight is not over.
Just because we're safe here in Illinois right now, we don't know how long that's going to be.
Local activist and poet Sunshine Lombre says she's glad people can travel to Illinois for safe abortions, but it isn't that easy for everyone.
There's a lot of people that might not have the access to even get on a Greyhound if they wanted to.
The main message of the rally, pushing to make a difference.
We're going to make noise, we're going to come out here, we're going to march and rally every year as long as we need to.
In Evanston, Caitlin Bender-Thomas, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Caitlin. And coming up, an annual tradition gets an update. Students dancing to the beat of a new time, place, and even length for NUDM.
And after the wet weekend, the skies are clearing and the temperatures are rising. NNN's Micah Sandy gives you a look at this week's forecast after the break.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
Welcome back. The Evanston Fire Department Office of Emergency Management hosted the Emergency Preparedness Fair this past Saturday. The family-friendly fair bringing awareness to man-made hazards and weather-related events, teaching Evanstonians how best to prepare for these emergencies. Over 10 free classes were offered, including CPR training, cybersecurity awareness, emergency response planning, and mental health crisis support. Free COVID and flu vaccinations were also available, along with live demonstrations by safety professionals, including the fire department, EPD, and Red Cross. To review materials from the event and learn more about disaster planning in Evanston, visit the Office of Emergency Management website below.
Tired of reaching for your umbrella? NNN's Micah Sandy is here with more on what to expect for this week's weather. Micah?
Good evening. I'm currently out here by the Lakeville enjoying the evening breeze. Tomorrow will be a mix of sun and clouds, with a warmer breeze throughout the day. The fall breeze will continue into Thursday with more clouds and a couple of passing showers. A passing shower or two Friday, with the sun starting to peek through, making way for more sun on Saturday and Sunday. Still blend of sun and clouds, but no expected showers on both days. Make sure to keep your umbrellas for the showers on Thursday and Friday, and it might not be a good idea to start looking for a hat as the breeze gets colder. Enjoy the breeze while it lasts before it gets into winter chill. Back to you.
Thank you, Micah, and stay warm.
Despite last weekend's rain, a longtime Evanston staple was able to get out and celebrate. Hecky's Barbecue recently rang in its 40th year serving fresh barbecue to the Evanston community. Hecky's first brought its signature Southern delicacies to Evanston on October 13, 1983. With savory rib tips, slow-roasted brisket, and chicken slathered in their signature barbecue sauce, Hecky's was voted Best Chicago-Style Barbecue in 2023 by the Chicago Tribune. The restaurant has fed barbecue fans across the entire city, from the entire Chicago Bulls team on a private plane, per Scottie Pippen's request, to hungry Northwestern students who couldn't make it home for Thanksgiving. The institution standing as a testament to the man who started it all, Hecky Powell, was an Evanston icon, civil rights activist, and friend to all. While Hecky passed away due to complications with COVID-19, his legacy is carried on by his wife, Cheryl Judas, who continues to run the restaurant today.
And a beloved student organization also welcomed an anniversary this weekend, with NU Dance Marathon preparing for its 50th annual event. In celebration, NUDM making some changes, including the return of its annual 5K and bonfire. NNN's Micah Sandy ran along the sidelines to learn more.
Northwestern University Dance Marathon, or NUDM, is Northwestern's annual philanthropy event with traditionally 30 hours of dancing. Typically held on the east lawn of Norris, organizers say they're one of the nation's largest student-run philanthropies. This year, however, things will be looking a little different.
Three big things are the venue, the length, and the date. So a lot of this came from collecting student feedback during spring quarter of last year, and then also just kind of like incorporating feedback.
Along with moving the marathon location to Welsh Ryan Arena, cutting the hours from 30 to 15, and moving the event from winter to spring quarter. This year also marks the return of a Sunset 5K and bonfire.
Grace Dyer, she and I thought to bring back this event that was here over a decade ago and hasn't happened.
The return of an old event taking place in October instead of during the dance marathon.
During the marathon in March, some people were dancing, and then they had a group of people that was running a 5K. We just thought that it sounded crazy to try to do both events at the same time.
And despite high tides, strong gusts, and rain this morning, the race goes on.
Some people run to show support.
We have a friend on the NU Dance Marathon Committee, so he was really trying to get us to sign up to support, and of course we wanted to.
While others participate for leisure.
I've been walking races for a long time. I've never run, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the people, I enjoy the lakefront.
With around 90 registrations, runners made their way to the Lakeville to line up at the starting line as the sun set, running through campus and to the finish line.
I had a lot of fun. I came out when my closest friends organized the whole thing, so I wanted to support her and the charity.
Micah Sandy, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Micah. Registration to dance those 30 hours away will take place from October 22nd to the 30th.
Coming up, dishing it out for donations. Evanston residents raising money for local parks with a sweet treat.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ready, set, nano.
Now get a slice of this. Evanston's Parks and Recreation Department hosted its inaugural Pies and Parks fundraiser Saturday, aimed at benefiting the city's 88 parks. NNN's Lena Peterson has the story that is as sweet as pie.
Evanston residents facing off in a steep competition, a pie contest dedicated to raising money for local parks. With haystacks, fall-themed crafts, and slices of pie for purchase, Pies for Parks brings the community together in support of the Parks Department.
This is a chance to kind of give back and put some more funding into the city's Parks and Rec Department.
Judging the competition, Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss and local cook Chef Q.
They'll have a rubric, the judges will taste the pies, and then the winner will be awarded.
Evanstonians young and old sharing a love of the city's parks.
Everett, what's your favorite park? Penny Park. Penny Park.
With volunteers making this fundraiser as easy as pie.
I also think it's just important to get together with your community and just help out and
The Parks and Rec Department sharing a slice of all that Evanston has to offer.
We just really enjoy doing all the Evanston activities, and I think we've visited every park, so when we saw that it was a pie for parks, I was like, oh, we definitely need to do this.
Serving up pies with a side of community. At the Noise Cultural Center in Evanston, Lena Peterson, Northwestern News Network.
Thanks, Lena, for this delicious story. You know, I think it's so cool that pies, this sweet treat, can bring people together like that.
I know, those pies look absolutely delicious. Personally, I love a great Southern banana cream pie. What's your favorite pie?
I am a sucker for a great chocolate pie, a classic, you know.
Chocolate pie is a classic. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. I'm Max Rothbetter.
And I'm Bridget Aduwadien. Have a great night.